All right, hey everybody. Sorry for the wait. It was probably my fault. I didn't leave enough slack on the line, and Shrimp just walked through. Probably didn't notice that we put the cord across so that we can plug in. This will not be an issue very soon. We just set up the 1,000 gallon tank stand to hold 100 tanks, and we have 55 tanks currently on them all. However, it's not set up for us to do live streams and everything, but eventually it'll be over in that area and not here. This was all temporary. So thank you everyone for being patient. Go through and say hello to everybody real quickly. How's it going, Frank? What's up, Ed? Hey, Tim, Amy, Sandy. Stay back, Shrimp. GK Aquatics, how's it going? Good Life Aquatics, Dawn. And then we got Woo Not Estevan.
No.
Yeah.
187.
Yeah, there you go. She got it. Hey, GK Aquatics and Jimmy P's Aquarium. So how's everyone doing? If anybody has any questions, tonight's topic is going to be Neocaridina. But of course, if you have any Caridina or any other shrimp-related projects, we'd be more than happy to find out or help you out with that. And then also, we had our local aquarium swap meet this past Saturday, our Pasco Aquarium Club, and they had their annual auction, and there was over 900 bags or 800 bags, and we spent $500 and brought home quite a few different things. So we'll be going all over that. And hey, Aqua Balls, how are you? Jeff Kane, how's it going, man? How's it going, Big Tank Hank and Mason Brando? How's it going?
Hey, guys.
I'm not sure how much Mason spent or how much he made off of me, but
770 bags. Sorry,
almost 800. So
that's crazy.
How's it going, Crypt Keepers? So yeah, like I said, those will be our topics for today. But if anybody has any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer those along the way. So, and then this started off, I figured we'd jump right into like our next video. We just posted one today. It was part 2 of Eddie's house. The next video that we're going to be working on is going to be an update on all of the ponds outside in the Neocaridina greenhouse. However, it's kind of being a mix of a couple different things. Our turtles have outgrown the turtle tub in the garage, and with all of the tanks that were being held in storage while we're setting up the rack, it was just really hard to set up any water changes for the turtles. So we decided to move the turtles out into the green jade pond. They're quite happy out there. For a couple days, they were real skittish and making a big mess because there's like old aqua soil out there. So anytime they move around, they just create a huge dust cloud. And so they're out there. But then we've got, quite a few different ponds that are booming. Some of the moss has been growing really well and whatnot. And I wanted to go over some of the outdoor ponds that have really been producing, and we're getting ready to do. Finally, I'm putting those tangerine tigers out there. That will happen tomorrow. Get it all on film, and that will be the next video. And that'll go over how to acclimate from Caridina over to Neocaridina parameters. So that jumps back into the Neocaridina. So,
Dane, hello. Blue Star Endlers. They are gorgeous. Yes, we did pick some up.
Those went into Jaden's tank that he escaped at the Florida State Fair.
Hey, Cheryl and Jeffrey.
How's it going, Jeffrey Brown? So I figured we'd start from the basics. We did set up 55 tanks so far on the new rack. The bottom row holds 22 10-gallon tanks, and those are all going to be just for Neocaridina. So what my plan is I got a few different projects where we want to try and work on different lines, some things that aren't really out there or available in the United States, and a couple things that are just a lot easier to work on inside in aquariums rather than the big ponds outside. So I want to go through and just basically have one of everything inside on that rack. We're going to start out with the red cherry shrimp, do a video on how to breed and take care of red cherries, go through the different grading, the scales, basic culls, red cherry grade, Sakura, fire, and then the painted. And then we'll move on and do like a video on blue velvets if I have blue velvets by then. I say that because I have some blue velvets. I just don't have enough to start up their own tank. How I'm making my own blue velvets is we're selective breeding them out of the red rillies. So if the blue velvets aren't the second tank, then the red rillies will take over. And then we have the red rilly clear body. We have red rilly blue body. So each one will get their own tanks. We'll go over orange, yellow. I don't have any solid yellows. All of my yellows are the 24 karat line, and that means that they have, the solid blue stripe. And then someone in our comments mentioned that we should do a video on the difference between blue dreams and blue diamonds. I want to do a video, and then doing, 2 tanks side by side will allow me to do that. But to answer your question real quickly, we're going to just say they look the exact same. However, one of them, the blue dreams, will produce like a low grade blue velvet cull, as well as maybe some reds. And then the blue diamonds, those will throw some blacks. I'm not saying the blue dreams can't throw blacks. They'll throw blacks too. But the blue diamonds will tend to throw more blacks than the blue dreams. Don't really throw any lighter colors or any reds. But then you get some, rillies, the blue rillies, the carbon rillies, and the blacks off of the blue diamonds. So, and then...
Yeah, I can't... Hi, I can't pronounce that name. I'm not even going to try.
Giuseppe
but
9214. That's how I'm going to say it. I'm going to butcher everybody's names. Not only is my eyesight going, but I'm dyslexic, so I'm going to mix around words, make it fun and interesting. So
cool to see someone from Florida. Love it.
Same with green jades and green emeralds. However, that isn't like a for sure thing. I just speculate that they come from different lines. I don't know that. I know the blue dreams should be higher grade blue velvets if they're selective bred, but the whole thing is where the importers are trying to send them over to the United States. When the blue velvets stopped selling, they just renamed them to blue jellies to get more sales. When those weren't selling, they renamed them to sapphires. They've been called so many different things, and whatever's selling, if it's in the same ballpark of color, they'll send it over to the United States and make it, the retailers over here, it's their issue to separate them out. And a lot of times, the retailer will end up getting burned, but or the customer will in the end. So, but it's just a tactic that's been going on. But it's possible that the green emeralds and green jades come from the same line. But I think the green emeralds come from like a chocolate, where the green jades are like somebody got really lucky, crossed like a blue shrimp and a yellow shrimp and got the green ones. Because in the very early days of crossing the green jades, we got blues and yellow culls, and it took several generations to get those out. And many times the blues ended up being the higher grade green jellies also. So you want to say the hellos? I'll leave those to you. Gives me some time. And we didn't get us water beforehand. We are. This is fumble number 2 for us today. We released our one video and realized it only uploaded like 6 minutes. I don't know how that happened, but it's been up there for like a week, and we just never sent it to Eddie for him to look at. Didn't notice it was 6 minutes long. Just never looked at it. So had to re-upload that video, and then shrimp yanked the internet out. So we're just not as prepared as we should be. We've been up very late hours in the night setting up the tank stand. I think the last 3 or 4 nights in a row, we've been up till 2 o'clock in the morning, just because you can only make so much RO water. And I'll go over the reason why. But yeah, as you set up tanks, you got to make sure that they're flooded. So I took care of the RO water. That's not flooded. I went and played golf today. It's been a routine, and every last 3 Mondays, I think.
Hello, Pickle.
Played golf, but Shelby was going to fill up the RO containers, and then did some laundry, turned off the RO water, and then forgot to turn it back on. But I asked her, I was like, hey, did you turn off the RO water? Are we good before we got the dinner? And she's like, no, we need to turn around. I was like, nah, send it. If the water's on the floor, I don't care. I'm hungry. I was starving. We played 18 holes, and I didn't eat enough food before then. So
Yeah, our deal is if he floods, I get a plant. So I get it probably
she-
voids it if I flood.
If she floods, I get a new golf club. No, not the same deal. All right, I tried.
Like a
She
$3
floods very
plant.
rarely, so I mean, by the time at the end of the year, you total them up, and I don't need any more expensive clubs, so we're good. Back. Hey, Pickle, how's it going?
I need tissues.
Don,
So
and
I'm
then
sorry.
Jeff.
Allergies are bad. Clean in the garage.
If you can grab me a water also. I'm just going to take over the whole live stream here. We missed a picture or a comment. I had Red Really with Neon Blue Body for a few years, but then I combined them in another tank and they all died off. So this can be quite common a lot when you mix new shrimp with one another. A lot of times the shrimp will have an immune system to one disease. I like to call it shrimp smallpox. It's the best way for me to put it is the shrimp in one tank, they had the immunity and didn't have any issue to whatever was in their system. And then when they moved them on to the other tank, they passed on the sickness to the other shrimp or what other pathogen was in the tank. And the other shrimp didn't have an immunity built up to that pathogen. And, they get sick, then the pathogen gets stronger and then can get the other shrimp sick and you can lose all of them. The other things are, did you do any water changes? Was there any other, things on your hands or something else that could have played an effect? But a lot of times it's a pathogen and it affects one shrimp, then gets stronger and then goes after the other one. So I hate mixing shrimp. I hate adding new blood and stuff like that just for that reason. So the breed died off. That is. Yeah. So Jeffrey Brown, how much substrate are you going to end up using? All right. So since we got some questions and I've already brought up the stand a couple times, so 22 of the tanks are set up for Neocaridinas, and I think we needed 120 pounds of samurai soil for the bottom, and then the rest of the tanks are all going to be aqua soil for your Caridina shrimp. And then I might end up doing, it's too late now. We should have already done it. Dang it. I wanted 2 Opaula tanks. So probably 2 Opaula tanks on the new rack that we're going to build now. I'll let Shelby in, I guess. Hold on 1 second. So, yeah, this is all temporary. Hopefully in the future we got a couch. She could get up, walk behind, and there won't be an issue. But I thought this was the best place so that shrimp wouldn't knock the internet out or damage the laptop, camera, lights, or something like that. He knocked the internet out. I guess that's the best one out of those options. But so we have 22 tanks for Neocaridina. Then 33 tanks are set up already for Caridina. But these are all the old tanks that were already on the racks beforehand. I moved those into the garage, and they've been sitting with like an inch or two of water in them for 4 months now almost. And so some of the water evaporated completely, like the ones that were like real close to the garage door and the ones that were up top and higher. Like we had 4 tanks stacked on top of each other. All of them with substrate and a little bit of water. The top ones end up evaporating. So we marked on the tanks. These ones are dry. This is, we're going to try and guess which substrate is what. I did mark on some of the tanks beforehand, like this is a good tank, this is an old tank, this one leaks and stuff like that. But I didn't mark like what kind of soil. So that'll be fun if I can kind of figure out. I do have some hints, like some pieces of wood and stuff in there. I can figure out what tanks are what. Some of the tanks were planted, and we tried growing some of the plants immersed for a while. Well, we did. And then we threw them back on the rack, and we're going to use them for more shrimp. We were going to do all, brand new tanks, but with all the old tanks and all the new tanks that we have 101 tanks, and I cracked the tanks. So we have 100 tanks. So
you cracked 2 of them.
Yeah, but we had 102. They didn't need to know I cracked 2 tanks. Different ways. One will work. And Shelby just doesn't want to risk any leaks, but it'll work. It's not a bad chip. It's just a chip. That's all it is. So I said, well, I cracked one tank. It's a bad tank. But the other tanks, and I totally forgot that I had like markings on the tanks, and one of them said like Tomahawk, and then weird dates. And I'm going, who wrote this? She's like, this isn't my handwriting. She's like, I have a tank from a buddy, and it's like I love Mitch written on the back. Like, I understand, like, she's worried, but I know where the tank came from, and that's his girl that wrote it on there. But like, this tank was totally different handwriting. She's like, where did this one come from? And I couldn't figure it out. And then the next day, I'm like, we bought like 15 tanks off of Steven that all have Substrate also. So there was 33 tanks that used on the new rack, and then we have, I think, 4 bags of Brightwell, a bag of UNS already here, a bag of Platinum Soil, a bag of, it's a company with Proteo Bio. I can't remember the name. We have no. It's in the laundry room, but we have a couple different soils to test. I think we have 3 bags of the old Fluval. I've got a new bag of the new Fluval on the way. No, I got 4 bags of the Brightwell soil. Just I figured, like, let's run some new videos, test out some new soil, and I think when I like try to add in Substrate to the cart, it would only let me order 4 or 6 bags or anything, something like that. So just the import issue, I decided to let's test some things, and if they're no good, it's easy to swap tanks out on this rack. Do you use lights on your outdoor Neo setup, or just natural light? And it's just all sunlight. No, all we use for the filter, the ponds are sponge filters. No lights, no heaters, no extra pumps, no chillers or anything like that. So, and then I have 6 planted shrimp tanks. My nitrates are measuring 0, but I have some algae growth. Should I do a water change? How often? How much would you do, or how much would you recommend? So yeah, you should do water changes every week, 10 to 20%, or every other week, 20 to 40%. If you're already doing that much water changes, increase your water changes. And then the other thing is lights. How long are you keeping your lights on? How are they right on top of your tanks? Or if you can, raise them up, that'll help with that algae. Our lights are normally raised right here, but for the live stream, we lower them. It gives less of glare. I think I made it worse, though. I don't know what happened. All right. So if you're having algae issues, you can also reduce on feeding. Those 3 things: overfeeding, too much light, not enough water changes, is why you have algae issues. You click on them and then I'll read them.
The light is the main cause, though. We have found almost every time it's light, we'll put a towel over it, or I just unplug mine for the day. The plants will do fine without it. You got to think how many days are cloudy out of the year that they're not really getting much sun anyways.
You got to talk louder and match my energy.
I'm sorry. My allergies are terrible.
All right. It's your interesting fact. I don't keep shrimp. Interested in learning more about them and supporting your channel. Getting isopod crazy, though. Well, we should have aquatic isopods on the website by the end of this month. So if you're looking for some aquatic isopods, message Shelby. She is the one to ask about those. I got her those for Mother's Day, so she's almost had them for an entire year. And her tank is completely crawling with them. And I'd like to add them to these top tanks too. And in that tank, we have snails, green emeralds, the isopods, as well as I threw in 2 yellow King Kong shrimp in there the other day, and one got buried. So hoping to have like a nice variety of different kinds of shrimp in there, but no fish. The fish would for sure eat up the aquatic isopods.
Nice little snacks.
Are you going to assign some moderators for your stream? Yeah. We should probably do that.
Eventually. We're just getting started on this, but yes, for sure.
I got to figure out how to do that. or Shelby needs to get on that.
We'll
but
get to it.
I was hoping like I could just click on you and be like, I'm gonna sign you up. That's a good option. Somebody that has that already in mind. Those are good people. We should throw that in. How's it going, Jamie Anderson? I just dropped the pen. And then moving on to the next kind of shrimp. We have the red cherry versus Bloody Mary. So the Bloody Mary is a off product of Black Rose or the chocolate Neocaridina, where red cherry was selectively bred from wild type Neocaridina to get more red and more red and more red pigment until you get the fire to the painted fire reds and stuff like that. So if you want to go like culls and talk about the cull rate for cherries, you'll have, culls are going to be completely clear with barely any red. But technically, if there's red on it, it is a red cherry shrimp. So a lot of times what happens is like the pet stores and stuff like that, they'll get red cherries and they're very poor in color. And then you have the Sakura red. Sakura red is going to be half pigmentation, and then the gaps will be transparent, but 50% of it at least needs to be covered in red. But that doesn't mean like 50% of the shrimp. That could be throughout the entire shrimp. So they're kind of spotty, even though the Sakura grade shrimp seems to be like advertised as a fire red, but most of the times that's not what you get. And then the fire red, that should be like 80 to 90% full coverage. And then the painted fire reds, that is like almost all females that are painted fire red. As they mature, they get the thick, real deep shell color, and that's like 90 to 100% coverage and stuff like that. So you're going to want to go for your painted fire red females and then find a really nice fire red male if you can. Find a painted fire red male. That's you hit the jackpot right there. But most of the time, you're only going to get fire reds. What did you bring home from Saturday? All right. So since you brought up that question, we'll talk about that now, Mason. I want to know how much you spent. Did I miss that, or how much? What you brought home? But so I got the list. I wrote it out so we didn't forget anything. We got the star endlers, the blue star endlers. And then we got the platinum rice fish. No, we got
blue.
No,
rice
the
fish.
the Madaka. We got the blue Madaka rice fish. I'm gonna butcher any Latin names, but we got some really nice rice fish. We got 4 different types of mollies: black, the yellow and black, solid yellow, and then just 3 types of mollies. And then we got
the tangerine.
Neurite snails. We got some magenta mystery snails. We got some golden rabbit snails, but those I think are just an orange. And then we got some larger orange ones. And I don't know if you can tell, probably not because of the live stream, but in one night they cleaned the entire front of the tank. So they definitely been doing their work. Well worth the money we paid for the rabbit snails. We got some paradise grammies. We got some micro crabs. We got some orange rilly shrimp, and I'll go over later why we got the orange rillies. We got some polar blue cichlids. We got some golden white cloud mountain minnows. We got some green-eyed rasboras. Did I say the golden laser cories?
No.
And then we got some longfin
laser cories.
Ones. Yeah, they're nice. I know Shelby wanted them, so I had to bring those home. And then we got the longfin leopard danios and some regular danios and some rummy nose tetras. And I'm probably forgetting something, man. We spent like $500. So, and I didn't bring anything. Like I spent all the time that I should have been bagging, setting up the new tank. So I had time. I just chose to spend it doing other things.
Sandy asks, so can the super tigers live in hard water like the Neocaridina shrimp? Also, will they breed with the Neos?
That's what we should do. You should read the questions, and then I'll let you answer them. And if you don't want to answer it, then I'll answer it. So Are they
I
live in
mean-
hard water?
I mean, tigers are the hardiest. It's a maybe. I think
So
they
they are.
can, and
They're
can do
super
well.
hardy, and I tell people if you kill super tigers or tangerine tigers in your Neocaridina water, there's got to be something in there that is just too sensitive that your shrimp have adapted to, and you probably lost a ton of babies in survival rate until they got to the generation where they can tolerate your water and thrive in your water, where Caridina just aren't going to. So if you start with super tigers and then tangerine tigers or either or, and you're breeding and you have success, then you can move on to the harder tigers like orange eye blue tigers or the red ones. Those are a little bit more difficult, but the super tigers are going to be one of the hardier options, and then they cannot crossbreed with the Neocaridinas. So they are a good option if you want to try out a new shrimp that's not going to mess with your genetics.
Oh, I missed that second question altogether. And then Jeffrey's asking if our yellows are still award winners. Actually, trying to share the screen, and we have pictures of them, but I forgot how to share it already.
I think once you win an award and you keep the line going, they're always award winners. And there just hasn't been any other shows or anything that I've participated in other than the Aquashella shows, which we organize. So I would be an unfair advantage if I entered them, or people would think I have an unfair advantage at least. So
Then Jamie asked, my blue bolt colony threw some black shadow. Should I cull them or leave them with the blue bolts?
that's 100% up to you. If you like them, you can leave them. The cool things about Taiwan bees is you can keep red King Kongs, black King Kongs, shadow pandas, Mizuras, blue bolts, red bolts, all Taiwan bees in the same tank, and you're not going to get any mixed genes that where you can't just separate them later on and have pure lines of each one. So if you separate the shadow pandas, I've had a shadow panda line going with Eddie now for 4 or 5 years, and no matter what and how many times you select to breed the shadow pandas, you still get the random blue bolt or blue Missoura out of them. And then with the blue bolts, I mean, eventually I stopped getting shadow pandas, so you can call, but I almost always, like 1 in 1,000 shrimp in my blue bolt tanks, I'll get a Missoura. So you won't get the black King Kong gene completely out of there, but I'm sure maybe you could down the road, thousands generations. But it's up to you if you want to, but it's not going to taint the genes. How's it going, Ray Aquatics?
Hey, Ray.
And then Mason said, I need to put some Neos in my greenhouse. Yeah, man. And you let me know, man, because I got many items on my list from your greenhouse that I want. So we could do some trading, man. Whatever color Neo you want, let me know. And I definitely want to get some things so we can start stocking some of the ponds. One of the other things that we have going is the 30 ponds on the side of the house. Now that this rack is up, the 30 days where these tanks are done in cycling, once I get the other 45 tanks done with Shelby, we'll go out and start setting up the ponds. So when the ponds are all set up, I'll be able to add many different types of fish. The other thing is the koi fish were spawning this morning. So Shelby woke up and found me on the counter with a bunch of thread and scissors. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, look outside. And she saw that the koi fish were attacking our lily pads. So I recently threw lilies into the pool, and the koi fish have just thrashed them. So hopefully there's some eggs on the lily pads. I haven't had time to jump in there and take a look. If not, we threw a mop in there, but none of the yarn sank. So we hoping that it sinks tomorrow and they get things going a little bit better. They laid eggs somewhere, but it wouldn't be the first time we got the koi spawning on us. So
Jamie asked, what types of shrimp can result from crossing tangerine tigers with blue bolts?
So that is the exact recipe for several different shrimp. So the easiest cross to get from blue bolts and tangerine tigers is blue steels or red steels. You'll get red steels way quicker, and you'll get steel culls first. That's also how you make tan tie. out of Tang Tai, you can keep breeding and eventually select a breed. You can get different kinds of pintos like Nanashi, Galaxy Tigers, Galaxy Pintos. Uh, Essentially, with those two types of shrimp, you can make boa and Galaxy Pintos. So it's just how many generations, how much effort and work and culling you're willing to do before you get that number going. I think I named everything though. That's worthy. Also, that's how we made Yellow King Kongs. That's worthy.
What color would you recommend the walls should be for the inside of neoponds?
Black, if you're gonna go for the color of the neos, the black, the darker the substrate, the darker their environment, the darker they're going to be, because they're going to try and match their surroundings. It's like a camouflage reflex. They're not as good as cuttlefish, but if you take green jades that are the nicest green jades in your tank and throw them in a white cup, they turn clear really, really fast. They lose color within like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And, when you ship them out, a lot of people with Neocaridina, they go, oh man, these don't look anything like the pictures. Well, you got to get them in the tanks, make sure the parameters are to their liking, make sure the color is as dark as possible. I know it sucks with like the blues and the blacks, like you can't really see them on black substrate, but they are going to look their best on that black. But you can select a breed and get some super, super really nice ones that are going to hold color on. I don't know how that happened. Hold color on white substrate, like blue diamonds. They'll hold color, but they'll look a little bit diluted on the white substrate, or if you had white or clear ponds. But of course, black is best.
All right. How about tangerine tigers and crystal red shrimp?
So that's just going to make Tang Tai. There's nothing really super cool out of those. You can make some like red and orange and a colored shrimp and stuff like that, but it is one of my least favorite crosses. There's nothing cool that's going to come out of them other than some orange looking tiger with some white and red stripes. That's about it. So need more tanks than Jamie said. Yeah, always need more tanks. That's why I had out of just the Tangerine Tiger and Blue Bolt cross, instead of Blue Bolt, I use Shadow Pandas. But I think I have 10 tanks going from my original cross that I did. I can go back and count, but I'm pretty sure I have easy 10 tanks for those. So, and then back to the greenhouse and talking about the Neos that we got at the show. In our greenhouse, I have some orange rillies. However, it's just one pond orange rilly going. And at the show, there was 2 bags. I saw one bag. It didn't look that bad. But in the bag, it looked like it had like a green colored one. And I was thinking maybe if they came from the same line, I can take their green one, cross it with some of the ones that are kind of greener in color out in our pond that I can maybe work on some more green and orange shrimp. However, I got them home, threw them in the tank. They colored up. It's just like a light green wild type shrimp. So I bought all those rillies for nothing. I'll keep them going. I'll give them their own tank. Maybe they'll eventually color up and do well in our parameters or something like that and be worth our while. But for the most part, I was kind of not depressed, just upset seeing the really. And there was some reds in the bags, and Shelby's like, "Why'd you buy it?" And I was like, there's some nice ones in here. And got home and it wasn't what I thought when it colored up.
Right. Crypt Keeper asks, what exactly is a fancy tiger versus regular tiger? And also, different grade, or is it a different crossbreed?
All right. So regular tiger actually is a certain type of tiger shrimp. It is Caridina Maria, and it is just a normal tiger. It's basically like if you would take a red tiger shrimp and cross it with a super tiger or a orange eye blue tiger, and it didn't have the orange eyes. It was just kind of in the middle of red and blue with the black stripes. So that's a regular tiger. A fancy tiger is actually a cross. So what it is a tie B, and it is a certain type of tie B. It cannot be with Serrata gene, which is the tangerine tiger or aurora tiger. It has to be with the Caridina maria. So you could use red tiger, super tiger, or orange eye blue tiger or black tiger, but you can't use the Serrata. And then if you cross with F1, say pure red line with a red tiger, interesting enough, all of the shrimp came out black tibies, and none of them are as what I consider a fancy tiger grade. So first of all, if you're going to call something a fancy tiger, to me, it should have zero translucent pigment. I know a lot of low grade fancy tigers are sold out there with the pigment. I've seen some medium grade fancy tigers sold with translucent gaps, and to me, those aren't even fancy tigers. That's a tibie in my definition. So technically, a fancy tiger is a tibie, which is a tiger crossed with a bee shrimp, but it is a high grade. It should be true to the calling.
Sandy asked, do you guys have super tigers and tangerine tigers available? We definitely have tangerine tigers. Super tigers are maybe, it's always something to message us, but I think we're out right now.
So no, I actually had a club member who we met today at Home Depot. We needed a special drill bit to screw in the stand to the wall, and I met the guy there and sold our last batch of 10 Super Tigers to him. They weren't on the website. He asked for them in person at the club meeting, as well as emailed us about them. So I was like, you know what, man? I can see you're passionate about them. So sadly, Sandy, I gave him the last 10. Clearly, you're here on the channel. You're passionate about them. Feel free to send us an email, and I can put you next on the wait list and send you a message when we're ready. We have 3 tanks of them going. I know we have babies in 1 tank. I just need those to grow up before we can sell anymore. Actually, we have 4 tanks of Super Tigers because we got the one from Steve too.
Oh, yeah. Mason, random thought. Had a 10-gallon a year ago full of red cherries. Must have been 100. Noticed some plumeria. Think I was overfeeding. And then over the next 2 weeks, they decimated the cherry shrimp.
I haven't personally seen planaria like eat a shrimp. I did a live stream with Alex last week or the week beforehand, the history living inside your tank, and Alex goes over his planaria and how they can enter inside the shrimp and eat all of the eggs. I really think we do a good job at quarantining our plants and everything like that. So inside the house, we really rarely ever see planaria. Maybe once in the last 3 years have I seen it inside the house. And when I did see it inside the house, it was on one little front of the tank in a Neocaridina tank. Dosed it right away, but I never saw them attacking any shrimp. I've never seen like a bad population though, like what you're talking about. So that is crazy. Definitely want to treat your plants before adding anything from the clubs. They are swarming with planaria in my experience.
Pickle asked, would you recommend starting neo colonies inside, then moving them outside once the group is bigger, or just throw a smaller group in the ponds right away?
Depends on your temperature. If you're down south and you are already like for us, I am throwing the dice and letting it go with the cichlids and stuff outside. I don't think we're going to have any more cooler weather, so we just threw out everything, no heaters or anything. So hopefully no more cold weather. So if you're expecting like a influx of different temperatures over the next couple of weeks, maybe hold them inside until you're going to have more stable temperatures throughout the summer. But once they've survived, a couple months, then they can take when you get into the fall months, especially like here where we live, in Florida, it feels like it's 60 degrees outside. We're all 3 layers, and then by 12 o'clock, it's 90 degrees. So, the shrimp don't have any issues. It's just originally when you throw them outside, as long as there isn't a lot of temperature swings, they'll be able to handle it once they've adapted to your parameters. There isn't that extra added stress onto them.
And I would say that's for homebred shrimp, though. I would not recommend doing that with any imports. They seem to get really stressed out really fast, regardless. Temperature swings can also bring up diseases.
The higher temperatures outside is also going to be an issue. If you have pathogens in the shrimp and you throw them in hotter water outside, that's going to increase your chance of ELO and the other parasites thriving.
Jeffrey asked, how do you get the onyx Neocaridina?
So all the onyx is a painted chocolate Neocaridina. So if you have black rose or chocolates, you can just selectively breed and make your own onyx line. Like 7 years ago when I had our chocolates, we had some really nice, oddly like red tinted black hue, and like nobody liked them. And then like a year or two later, so we sold those as culls, got rid of them, never focused on them. A year or two later, some importer brings them into the United States, calls them onyx culls. It's like right in the middle of the Pokemon boom. So of course it kind of took off. And then like the whole thing with the Red Riding Hood Neocaridinas and stuff like that, they're really just culls that people got off of a different line of Neocaridina and then just selected bred. Or the Red Riding Hood, they're not selective breeding them. What they're doing is they're going into the red lily ponds, and when they're going to sell them in different bags, the ones with the red heads, oh, we sell these for $1 more and call them something else. And that's how you make more money in this hobby, sadly. But a lot of times when you're making something new, it's not that new. It's just slightly different.
Right. Tangerine tiger bred to red galaxy fishbones results in.
So you're just going backwards. The original cross needed for galaxy fishbones is a tangerine tiger. So if you're going to add tangerine tigers with the galaxy fishbones, expect a lot of red steels, some tang tai lookalikes, but you're basically going to get the same thing as if you cross a tangerine tiger with a shadow panda. Only you're going to get probably more crazier patterns, but not by much.
And Pickle said, I'm located in South Florida as well, so I should just throw my colony outside right away.
Yeah, we're in Central Florida, so if you're below Tampa, you're good to go, for sure.
Right. And Aquaballs asked, do you know how to make the Calcio reds or blue?
No, so let's bring up that photo if we can.
Oh, yes.
Did you figure that out?
No, but I will in a second.
All right, so the red and black Calcios or the blue dragons, those are all going to be a genetic mutation or something like that. We have been doing some guess what this is games on our social media platforms. So if you don't follow us on Facebook or Instagram, I'm trying to do as many as we can. We've been super busy this week with the stand and as well as the auction and getting all the fish situated. So, and then figuring out everything with the YouTube, we had some issues, but everything's fixed now. However, I wanted to get out more pictures, just didn't get around to it. So the one I posted today is of a black Calcio, and I couldn't tell you where it came from. I could guess it's like a super crystal black, maybe crossed with the yellow King Kong, or to get the blues, maybe it was an Aurora blue crossed with like a super crystal black or something like that. But in the end, nobody really knows. Uwe, who is a German breeder, he's the only one who knows exactly how to make this cross. Several people have tried to replicate it. A couple people have been, oh, look at this, I made this. And it's like, it's kind of close, but like true Calcios, they breed true. So if you take what you're calling a Calcio and saying it's a Calcio, in order for it to be it has to breed true. And nobody that says they've made it from scratch has proven to replicate it and it to breed true. So I think hands down it's got to be a genetic mutation, but I might be wrong. It might be a simple cross with, like, looking at it right now, it could be Yellow King Kong crossed with raccoon. And then funny thing about that is I kind of know that I'm going to have 60 empty Caridina tanks. So I've been kind of going through the house and grabbing a little bit of this and a little bit of that and throwing it over here and throwing it over there. Because I know in certain tanks, if I take a yellow King Kong or an orange-eyed yellow King Kong and throw it in a raccoon tank or a Stardust tank or the Hummel tank, that if something comes out that's not a Hummel or a raccoon, something that breeds true, then of course we had a cross happen, and then I can take those abnormal babies before they've gotten to age to start breeding with the other shrimp, so I can keep those lines pure. I can separate those into new tanks that'll be up and running in the next 30 days. So that's going to be the plan. So we did end up throwing a yellow King Kong in with the raccoons, and we got a buried yellow King Kong. The other possibility is, do shrimp retain sperm? Like guppies can hold and have 3 batches of babies after one hit of the male. So is this true with shrimp? Is it true with certain kinds of shrimp? That's not really something that's been advertised, or if the information's out there, I'm just not going to look for it. It's something I'd rather find out on my own. So,
All right, Crypt Keeper. Saw a shrimp online a few months ago, had a baby pink nose. Any ideas what it could have been? Would like to learn more about it.
no, I'm sorry. Like maybe the Pinocchio
Yeah.
shrimp or the red nose shrimp. It's actually a brackish shrimp, and you can't breed them in captivity. If you can, you're not going to get anywhere near like a good high survival rate. It's kind of like the Amanos, where you have to take them from fresh water, get them to bury up. And what happens is they not lay eggs, they release the eggs into a larva stage. The larva stage flow down the river and out to brackish and salt water, where they eat special little plankton and algae that grow just in those saltier waters. And then they do like a little metamorphosis where they transform from a larva into a mini version of what the shrimp that you buy in the stores. And they're strong enough to swim up the current, make it back into the streams where they complete their full life cycle as adults and breed and release their own babies out to the ocean again, and then repeat that cycle. So you literally have to recreate that through, a series of a couple different tanks or jars or something like that. It's a pain just to grow the plankton and algae. So I just don't go through all that effort. We are going through the process of filing for our resale license. Till this year, we were just completely taking this as a hobby. And then now we're starting to, let's look at this as a full-fledged business. Shelby's been working in retail for a long time, and customer service is just no fun. It's not breeding shrimp. It's not growing plants. It's not doing all the things that she loves to do. And I'm not all like anti-corporate or anything like that, but I don't think anybody should spend too long, spending time doing something you don't love. So
Plants are much better.
she's really good at it. She's been promoted to general, or not general man, but manager at 2 different stores. So she's definitely on her way to bigger and better things. Just hopefully it's doing things on her own and spending more time at home. And that just means that we're just taking things a little more seriously. We're going to be selling some shrimp food, starting with the Bloomfields, Shrimp Envy Foods. I'm also testing a couple different other foods. We need to get more product in order to test those out and give those a better view. But of course, we sell Aquachar. Was going to plan on doing the live stream with Chance and Brian tonight. However, Chance is just working way too much. He was sick last week, and they had him doing a double today. And I just didn't want to do that to him and overload him too much. So we're going to do that Wednesday. So expect another stream from us Wednesday. And then before I lose too many people, is getting to the end of the hour. I do plan on going a little bit over the hour because we fumbled the ball a little bit before we got started. So I will go through answering more questions and stuff like that in a little bit. But because it is Easter and we are doing the Neocaridina pond setup next, that video is going to be going through. I am going to do a sale on the website. It is going to be Easter 20% off. The coupon code is active now. So anybody want anything throughout the whole website, Easter 20 for 20% off. And then on top of that, all of the Neocaridinas all the culls are going to be buy 10, get 3 free, and we throw in extras on top of that. So you're guaranteed at least 13 shrimp if you buy 10 of the Neocaridina culls. And then on top of 20% off. So we were trying to go through now that it's warm enough outside. There's no cold weather. I got no more excuses. I need to get outside and spend, a good 2 or 3 hours working in the ponds and going through, and having a sale on the culls gives me more of a reason to get on top of it in the beginning of the year. So especially put a note saying you were on the YouTube channel, and I'll hook you guys up with even extras. So I want to go through and get all the culls out of the tubs.
Thanks, Frank. Right. Aqua balls. What do you get choosing PRL to fancy red tiger? Thanks for answering my questions. I understand what you mean. I love genetics. Very interesting topic.
I think they meant crossing.
Crossing.
So the pure red line would be like kind of going backwards. You want to use a pure red line to start your fancy red tigers. So if you cross your pure red line into the red fancy tigers, you're going to end up with more Bees, a lot less dots on the head, a lot less stripes on the body. So the best thing to do with your fancy red tigers is to cull heavy, or reach out to me. Let me know you want some nicer fancy red tigers, and we can send you some males. Some nicer males will definitely help improve your genetics. And then you just want to constantly cull and work on the next generation. The better male you have, the better the babies are going to be, and so on and so on. And you want to get the more translucent ones out of there. Work on getting the solid color from head to toe first, and then work on pattern, and you'll see a lot of improvement.
Right. What's the best 3 selling Neo?
So yellows, blues, red cherries. Those 3 are on fire. However, like green emeralds and green jades, those are like a close tie. So if I could keep the nice high grade ones in stock, it might be those for sure. But our best 3 sellers are the blues, the yellows, and the reds, simply for the fact that there's a lot less culling involved, and they breed a lot faster than the emeralds do. The emeralds don't breed as fast as the thicker shell. They just grow a little bit slower. The yellows are beasts. They get big and they grow so fast.
Aquachar alternative for activated carbon?
Yeah, but at the same time, it could be a media. It can be used for a lot of different things. Of course, like you get the new filter or something like that, it comes with a little patch of carbon. I tend to always just use it, throw it in there. But like if you forget to take that out after a month and you pull the little satchel out, it's turned to dust. It makes a huge mess. It goes all over the place. It breaks down really fast. It's meant to be replaced. It's like one of those money pit things where I feel like I'm sorry, I'm clicking the pen. I feel like it's just one of those things where they want you to feel like you have to polish your water constantly. Where the Aquachar, it's one of those things where you can throw it in there and last for 4 to 6 months. If you want to keep it going in your tank for longer than that, I've had it in tanks for over a year now, maybe 2 years, and it's still holding shape. It's still, a nice porous area for bacteria to colonize, beneficial bacteria and stuff like that. It also removes any toxic, like we've been painting the house, and not the house, but the tank stands inside the house. And say if like this tank right here doesn't have a lid on it, it's the closest one to my tank stand. If I saw any of the shrimp acting irregularly or lethargic, I can just throw in some Aquachar in there, and I know that tank's going to be fine. The shrimp, if there was any lying on their backs or anything like that, as long as they're not dead, it does not bring shrimp back to life. If the shrimp are dead, they're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. But if they're acting lethargic, add the Aquachar into them, and almost instantly, within like 1 minute, all of my shrimp came back and we're doing just fine. That happened when we were painting Layla's room. The shrimp in the hallway didn't have a lid. And I came out after painting. I was like, oh no, threw some Aquachar in there. The next day, everything was fine. And then, of course, we had an issue with flea meds where we were doing the topical treatment. And then we ended up getting hair from the dogs into the tanks. It affected 21 different tanks. there was a horrible sword fight that went through the house with me and the kids, and we were using cardboard boxes and stirred up all the meds into the tank. So the aquachar was a lifesaver, and I left the aquachar in there, and I didn't have to replace it or anything like that. So it's definitely a better alternative.
Do you guys sell emerald coals?
Yep, I believe they are on our website. Our website is tgoeshrimp.com. It's the Garden of Eden abbreviated shrimp.com. So, and yeah, if you guys want them, they're a little bit greener than the green jade coals, but they're a little wildish looking, or a little blue too. So.
Mainly blue.
Yeah, and then, like you said, for sure, the feeling on the money pit. I don't recommend just setting up a tank and throwing in activated carbon. If it's free, use it. I like the aquachar as like one of those like emergency. If we had like a first aid station or something for the shrimp, aquachar would be in there. I'd probably want enough on hand to treat an entire rack in case something affected the room. Your spouse comes home, thinks something smells bad, sprays the Febreze. The Febreze gets in your tanks. It ends up killing shrimp. So the aquachar, throw it in the tanks. It'll take the Febreze out of the water.
Right. Amy asked, any advice on breeding ghost shrimp? I know most people use them as feeders, but I brought home a colony around 20 that I caught at the lake because I thought they were so cool.
So you caught them at the lake, so chances are they're going to be heavy on having an available source in the water column. So I say for breeding ghost shrimp, you either need to do it two ways, where you have a lot of flow, your water is pristine, and you overfeed and do a lot of water changes, or the other way is you kind of have like a dirty tank. And I definitely recommend that for like if you got them from the lake or something where more stagnant water and not a lot of flow, and just having a lot of particles in the water column, because the seed shrimp are going to, not seed shrimp, the ghost shrimp are going to be hatched into a larva stage. They do not need the, brackish or saltwater. Them being, ghost shrimp from freshwater lakes, we have them in almost every body of water here in Florida. So as long as there's a food source for them in the water column, they should be all right. Make sure there's not a filter that can suck them up, and make sure there's no fish, because any fish that are in that tank are going to eat them up. And then, so Jamie Anderson, thank you so much for the $5 super chat.
Thank you.
You are our very first super chat, and I told Shelby just today, I was like, we haven't gotten last time you couldn't because of our link was broken on our website for the monetization. So we got that fixed for this week, but last week you couldn't. So I said, you know what? Whoever donates to us first, we're going to do something special. It didn't matter how much it was. But Jamie Anderson, if you would send us an email, it's my first and last name, granteater@gmail.com. I have something special for you. So just email me your address, and I'd like to send you that. And
thank you.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. Thank you guys. We've got 28 people watching. I think that's more than we had last week. So I think there's a couple more things on my list that I wanted.
Another question.
Oh yeah, next question.
I have an Asian style under gravel filter in my crystal tank. Do you recommend them?
So they're great, but at the same time they have a lot of downside. So if you like any plants like crypts or anything that's going to root, you can't do those with the under gravel filter. Also, it makes changing any substrate or anything like that very difficult. You want to make sure you never overfeed, so you don't clog up the filter itself. And then you do get a lot of beneficial bacteria that grows throughout the substrate and stuff like that. So it is a great thing, but they are a little bit more maintenance. Generally speaking, you have to completely tear down the tank to reset it to where if you had any issues with the filter or something like that, you got to reset the tank. Where sponge filters, you can just kind of take them apart without messing with the substrate. you want to mess with the UGF filter, you definitely got to take the shrimp out, because you're going to mess with the substrate. You're going to maybe stir something up, but at the same time, there is kind of like a less chance of there being gas stuck and trapped inside that are going to get the shrimps sick when you do mess with the substrate. So they do have their ups and downs. I never use them myself, because they're just more work. They're more uptake when you want to swap things out. So if you plan to swap your substrate out every year, they're great. If you want to last your tanks 4 to 5 years, I would do just sponge filters.
DJ Owen just ordered some green emerald shrimp from you guys last week. Very excited to receive them. I've been looking for a while. This is the type, thanks. And I've already been planning on ordering more shrimp from you. I believe we just sent that out today. That went out. Yeah, that went out.
Yeah, if you ordered anything after Wednesday, we did not get them out on Saturday because of our auction started at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we just didn't have any time, and Shelby sent out everything today. It was 15 emeralds, and I think you got some moss too, if I remember correctly. What pond did you end up catching them out of? Oh, no, you got them out of the tank inside.
Our special tank.
Yeah, you got some very, very nice emeralds. If any of them have the back line, it is because they're in a tank that I'm trying to get that back line out. But it's very rare that I even get the back line when crossing the back lines with one another. So we got some new questions.
Yeah. All right.
Did you get hooker moss?
Mm-hmm.
We're running out of hooker moss. If you guys want hooker moss, I might not be bringing it to Aquaticon.
All right. So Amy said, I caught them in South Alabama. They're in a species-only tank with just a sponge filter. Lots of plants and a nice messy tank floor. One female is already holding eggs, so fingers crossed. Good luck with them.
Yeah. You want to get some powdered food or some real nice flake food, and then turn it into a dust to make sure you keep them well fed. You all right, buddy?
Learned of you from Alex livestream. I live in Zephyr Hills. How much do I have to order to be able to come pick them up in person? Would love to ask some questions and level up my shrimp game.
So sadly, we don't have a storefront. We aren't having people come by the house or anything like that. I'd be more than willing to meet up with you at like a Petco or something like that. And as long as it's like a $20 order or something like that, we usually go to Petco or something in that area every other day or so. I don't know what's it. He's barking at Thea, and nothing special.
He's
They're just
done with you today.
not happy with the dog bed that she's sleeping on, I guess.
It's his bed. That's what it is. Hello, Yellowstone. Then let's see. Jimmy, I recently watched you when you mentioned a certain type of trumpet snail that you recommend for shrimp tanks. What was it? Malaysian trumpet snail. They're everywhere.
Yeah, and then we actually, in this tank right here, we have some horned trumpet snails. So I hope to get those going. I want to have Malaysian trumpet snails on the website by the end of this week. Yeah.
He's hinting that that's me to get him on there.
No, that's me needing to get myself and setting myself up for it, so I know I'll get it done by the end of this week. But yeah, we have an abundance of Malaysian trumpet snails on a lot of the tanks, and we could definitely post those up on the website, because I have some really nice ones that are really tolerant to Caridina parameters and some that are in Neocaridina. So I'm going to have that option available for both.
Yep. The coolest thing about the Malaysian trumpet snail is that when they have their babies, they float at the top of the tank. So our little tiny tank we have in the bedroom has the isopods, the green emeralds, and the Malaysian trumpet snails. They swarm the tank, and then at the top, there's just a swirl of Malaysian trumpet snails. When you go to net, just kind of volcanoes, like the little experiment of the glitter in the water when you're in school. That's exactly what they do.
And they're nocturnal, too. So if you check on them at nighttime, you're going to see way more than you are during the day.
All right. And do you guys or can you sell just females or just male shrimp?
It depends on the type of shrimp. You're probably not going to be able to get females unless you're like looking for yellow king kongs. It's like the only ones that I have an abundance of. And for me to find a yellow king kong that's not buried up, it's going to be an issue. Like I got to catch her on the day she's laid eggs or something like that. But males, more likely than yes, I can. The only issue is like the reds. We only keep so many nice male studs, or so many only stay that nice that we keep in our pond. So it just depends on the type of shrimp. If you message us, email us, or the best thing to do is to message me on Facebook, Grant Eater. Just send me a private message, and I'd be more than happy to help you out with male or female selections.
Right. And 187 is, what is the coldest temperature you can keep Neos and Caridina at and have them still breed? I actually just did a video not too long ago on our ponds for our Neos and how cold it got. What did it get down to, 30?
37 degrees for the Neos. So the thing is they breed faster the warmer it is. They grow faster, the eggs hatch faster, and because of that, of course, they do better in the summer. However, in the wintertime, on the coldest day, I don't know if I have it on the video or not, but throughout the entire year when we're catching shrimp, I'm catching babies, buried females, sizes all in and out. The only difference is they're not eating as much. They kind of know that the cold temperature, that food isn't going to be as readily available. So they kind of like just stay in one spot. They kind of all go into like whatever cracks and crevices that they know they're going to be the safest that they possibly can be out of way of any fish that are, possibly in the ponds that they've never seen before, but they're still worried about them. So they don't eat as much, and because of that, they don't grow as fast, don't breed as fast. But for temperature wise, they're going to breed no matter what temperature you have them in. Caridina, however, you need to make sure that they are kept above 60. Below 60, you're going to have some die off more than likely. I've never kept them below that. I've never heard of anybody keeping them below that without having issues. So, but anything above 60, I've heard people breeding them throughout the entire winter. The temperature isn't the issue. If your Caridina are not breeding in the wintertime, increase the amount of water changes that you're doing, and you should have some more success.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And Sulawesi rabbit snails. I'm hoping we'll get them to breed. We had so many. We just, like he said, we're remodeling everything. So we had to move our original Sulawesi tank and split it up into these tanks. So we're in the process of breeding them again. We'll have them breeding like crazy.
You want some yellows? We have yellows.
We have yellows?
We have tons of yellows.
They're all mine. I'm just
no, we have 3 tanks of yellows breedings, and then another tank with a random yellow. So if you want yellows, we can do some yellows. I think they're $12 a piece. They're not on the website yet.
Yeah.
But
sometimes if something's not on the website, always message Grant, because sometimes we're slacking in the website department.
Well, here's the thing. It's been a hobby until this year, like we mentioned. Before like this, it's hey, this person wants to buy this. They only have a credit card. All right, I got to throw them on the website. Here's the picture I have on hand. This is what I do. And I just never changed it. Some of the pictures on the website are like 4 or 5 years old. So that's just, I haven't taken it serious. We bought a photo little tank that I can start taking pictures of the shrimp in. And I want to start doing, real nice photos. Add on a couple shrimp here, a couple snails there, and then we're gonna dive into a couple different other things. So, just bear with us. But yeah, the rabbit snails, if you want them, we can do those.
All right.
How's it going, Jay Oliver Guppies?
Hey, how you doing?
Everything is well. We are healthy except for Shelby's allergy issues.
A little bit of dust and I'm done for. So getting all the tanks rearranged in the garage. I mean, we definitely have a problem when you look in our garage and you can see tanks upon tanks that he won't let go of. We'll get there.
Why do I need to get rid of a 55-gallon tank when I can set it up on the floor somewhere,
On
put
the
a
floor.
filter
On the floor.
in the
Listen to
tiki
him.
bar, and throw some Neos and some, snails out there and have an extra project going on. So, and I can just tap in an airline right
Get
there.
it. What is the warmest temperature you've kept Neos at?
92. 92,
You
we
think that's
have
the warmest? I think
that, maybe higher, but like after 11 o'clock on a hot day, I do not want to be outside anymore. I'll come inside and I'll start working on water changes in here. I usually drop Shelby off at work, and then the first thing I do is I come home, I feed the koi fish, the turtles, and then all the shrimp, check up on everything. I'll do some culling, get all my orders situated. I'll take care of the Neos and everything first, and then come inside and do Caridina because it's usually too hot to work outside. But we have a black barrel that is for our orange Neos, and it's only like 30 gallons of water. And the hottest temperature I've recorded as 92, and no issues, just big fat buried mamas and babies and juvies growing up fast.
Jalliver's enjoying the new rack build.
I'm enjoying yours, man. I'm jealous you got the automated water changes on yours. It's definitely something I want to do, but like,
I'm jealous.
so like, do I do that now, or do I save the space and just invest and pre-order the Elon Musk robot? Because if it can pick up dog poop and do water changes, it is well worth the 36 grand. And, we were looking for an employee anyways, and all an employee is going to do is complain about picking up dog poop and doing water changes. So the robot, if it complains, Elon, I want a new one. It should not have any complaints programmed into it, but it should be able to handle the water changes, and then everything will be automated. Just simply need Elon to come through with this, the Giga Tesla building in Austin, Texas is going to be the largest building in all of the world. And if they're producing robots, I want one.
No.
You want one?
Someone needs to back me up with this. If you've seen iRobot, I cannot have a robot in my house.
It's worth the risk if iRobot does water changes.
All the conspiracies are going to be true about the robots. Will Smith is warning us now.
You're slow, so it might be able to catch you, but I'm gone. Even with a half fixed ankle, I was
Have you seen the robots on iRobot? I mean, they take off. They're going to kill you. All right. My rabbit snails are breeding in my 40-gallon painted fire cherry tank. Ooh, nice.
The only bad thing about rabbit snails and shrimp tanks is they do tend to eat all the good plants that I like to keep. So they just stay in my Sulu essay tanks. That's it.
Right. Can't wait to see you guys in Aquashella, Dallas in August. We are excited.
Are you not going to go to Aquaticon in Tennessee? We will be there the 30th of this month. I figured, can't remember where you live, but I thought that was closer to you than us.
Thanks, Tim. And then Jeffrey asking, are you going to do a complete video on the new rack build?
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to get, just because of the amount of RO water that I need 1,000 gallons of RO water, and we only can make 200 of them a day. I'm also having to keep up with top offs and doing other random water changes throughout the house. So the rack is not just getting filled up in one night. I've got 55 tanks that are filled up 80% of the way, and another trash can that's filled up with water. And then we got, I don't know, probably 8 tanks that I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks that I want to fill up tonight with different fluval substrate. So,
tonight.
Yeah. Get the empty trash cans. So tomorrow I don't have to worry about moving stuff around. So, but when all the tanks are set up, we'll go over that. Then the next thing I want to talk about are the old tanks. But let's go through. We got a couple more.
Thank you, Jimmy. Really appreciate that. And then, Do you only use RODI in your tanks?
Except for the Neo tanks. The Neo tanks get tap water. Everything else gets RODI mixed with GH only minerals, no KH.
And Jay Oliver is on your side for robots. 2 points on robots. No. I'm going to lose this battle.
If it does water changes, you know how many turtles we're going to get? So many turtles.
It better feed the turtles. It better water all my plants.
It'll do everything you don't want to do anymore.
No, there's no way. There's
Fold
no
laundry,
way.
sweep the floor. You could even get another dog if it's going to pick
All
up
right,
more
now
dog
you're
food.
talking, but you got to get me my pug. That's the only way. What?
Turn on your fan. Yeah. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Sorry. Daughter's trying to go to bed. She needed her fan on. And do we use RO water exclusively? No.
Just for Caridina. I don't use anything that has KH water with the Caridina. So.
Did I miss a question from Jeffrey? Oh. Did you answer that question?
Oh, no. No, we're talking about it.
Okay.
So I want to go back through the we mentioned that we set up the 33 tanks to the stand that are all old substrate. We're going to be doing a bunch of testing videos too. We got also at the auction, there was a bunch of silent little auctions. I didn't win any of the Sam Scales paintings. I forgot to go back. I was like, Shelby, I'm doing it. And she's like, no, don't do it. And I was like, I'm doing it. I forgot to go do it. And then she saw the one I wanted to go bid on. And she's like, I wouldn't have been mad. I was like, see, you just didn't know what was over there. You just got to go look. It's not one of the normal prints that Sam has. So beautiful artist, Sam Scales. And they had a fluval testing kit. And like I forgot to go back there at right before 3:00, but I still won it for $9. It's a master fluval test kit. We also got a Syrah test kit, and then we have our API test kit. That's got to be like 8 years old now.
It's quite old.
And
I wonder if they expired.
No, they do. So it's for sure expired, but like I'd love to see if it's still accurate. So we're gonna go through. We're gonna test a bunch of tanks. I had mentioned that we labeled on the tanks. On some of them they're old, and some of them were dry and soaked up all the water. So I'd like to go through. I know some of the tanks are fairly new because Shelby set up like the whole top row, so that substrate wasn't exhausted. But any substrate that is exhausted, you're yawning. You're too tired. We're going to have to go through anything that's exhausted, either put tiger shrimp on that or remove it and swap it out with a new tank and go from there. But one thing we did do is we bought 100 brand new sponge filters. So the rack is going to have all fresh filters. I'm also going to go through and because we don't have like one of those siphons that's really nice to just pick up the small particles and leave behind all the gravel. I don't know where that went. It's probably in the garage somewhere behind 15 tanks or something like that. So I'm just going to make one out of like a 2-liter bottle. And I think the bigger bottle, it's going to leave the light substrate behind and just pick up all the mulm and debris. So I'm going to go through and completely clean out a lot of these tanks. But we also don't even have lights. I haven't decided whether we're going to make our own LED light strips. I've got a buddy in the club, Ricardo, who I already gave him some shrimp for him to kind of like help me out. I don't know if we're going to go that route or just buy the 72-inch Beamworks or Aqua Neats like we always do. I did put the notches to hold all those lights, and we do have 3 of the 72-inch lights. You want some water? That were on the old rack that I'm going to just use as testers. So if it fills up the entire bottom row and it looks real nice, maybe we'll just go with those and maybe save the light project for another build.
Right.
But lots of videos are coming off of this rack, Jeffrey, just for asking or just for answering. I'm sorry.
It's mainly 4 videos.
No, way more than 4. There's going to be 22
I meant
just
like
on.
it's mainly 4 videos, the whole rack. Not
It took us like 3
4.
days to do the first coat of primer, 2 days to do the second coat, and 3 days to do the 2 coats of black, and then a day for the air system, and we painted the air system, so it looks really nice. But I didn't film as much as I probably should have because we were working and doing so much. The camera slows you down, so I stopped a couple times and got like 5 seconds here and there, so you guys can hear me talk about it and then look at something other than just me for once.
And you can look at my TikTok to see the fail that happened the other day. I'm still currently showing that pretty bad. No, it's not that bad now. No, you can't even see that.
Out.
Yeah. All right. All right. With the 55-gallon tanks, I'm setting up most B Neos. Is black blasting sand the best cheap substrate to use? Yes.
Yeah.
We've used that before.
Yeah, it's just
like
the only thing about it is it's a little sparkly. It's a little,
It's got glass in it for sure. It's glass shards, but
it's black.
It
works. It's cheap. It's inert. It doesn't affect your water parameters. I've used it without rinsing it. Everybody says, "Oh, you need to rinse it," but one of our very first videos for setting up our red tiger or green tiger tank or green jade tank is set up with black diamond blasting sand. So I recommend getting the medium grit though. Don't do the fine. The fine, it works, but it took a couple days for the water to clean up, even with rinsing it.
Try install auto water change system with rack build. I'm currently adding one to an existing rack and it's a bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, no,
we're screwed then.
I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to go with the whole robot thing, man. 2-3 years robot. But I'll enjoy doing the water changes. I got nothing else to do throughout the day. I do my water changes, and because I do the water changes, I get to look at my shrimp more, and it gives me an excuse to stay around my shrimp tanks all day. So I like it.
Sandy asks, what is the TDS of your tap water? Love your videos. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Sandy.
Do you know?
Yeah, TDS of our tap water, I think it's like 170 or is it 70?
170.
I was right the first time. Yeah. And
then we usually dose prime or shrimp prep, and that usually adds 10 TDS. So everything in our tanks is for Neos are kept at about 180 TDS.
All right. What's the pH you like to see for Caridina?
6. If you can get lower than 6, like 5.5, that's great. I don't currently even have a pH meter or probe or anything like that that's going to go down below 6. So my API test kit reads 6. I'm happy and I move on. I want it as low as possible. As soon as it gets to 6.4, 6.5, expect baby survival rate to go down. That's when you're going to want to swap out your substrate or move something like Yellow King Kongs or tiger shrimp that are a little bit more hardy that can withstand the higher pH. So real quick, just checking on the list. And then the only other thing is now that the new rack is built, Shelby, while I was at golf today, cleaned up the garage, moved around a couple things. A guy at her work gave her a coffee table, and I was like, yep, I'm going to use that to skate my tank on it. So she moved that inside, and we got the fluval tank from the Aquascape contest in Orlando. It is a 40-gallon tank. It's 36 by 18 by 18, and we're going to try and skate that in the next 2 weeks or sooner for the CChem contest. So that is going to be inside the living room that we're building out of tanks. The next thing we're going to do is we have a rack that's just pinned up behind another rack, and turn that sideways. It's got all Shelby's isopods up top. We're probably going to just use it for a couple of skate tanks until I've got time to build another rack. We're going to build a couple different things.
More lizards.
A rack by the window, and then we're going to build an entertainment center in front of the fireplace that's going to hold her leopard geckos and a couple other things. before we build the big rack behind us. But we got to get a couch and everything set up there for the live stream. But till that happens, we're going to scape a bunch of nice tanks behind it. So there will be a little backdrop, or the other tanks we can rotate. This is all movable, so we can set it up wherever we need to go.
Well, warn me before you do something like that.
Then I don't get the good reaction.
All right. Have you used Fluval Stratum?
No, I haven't. I haven't tested it out. The main reason why we've never tested it out is because 9 out of 10 times, if a customer comes to me with an issue with pH and the pH is above 6.5, I ask them what their substrate is. 9 out of 10 times, it's Fluval. And the other 10% is like the Seachem brand as well. So those two, they're just very inconsistent with their pH and their stability. And for that reason, I've just never spent my money on it, never wanted to use it or test it out. However, it could be user error. The Aquascape contest gives you 3 bags of Fluval substrate when you enter. And, if you use it in your Aquascape contest, it's going to be good for the long run, but it's not a long run Aquascape contest. It's judged the very next day. So we didn't want a bunch of Fluval substrate underneath. When you fill up the water, then the Fluval will come out and make a mess all over your white sand. So we didn't use any of it. I said, you know what? I'm going to set up a tank with a stand with 100 tanks. Let's throw the Fluval onto the new rack and test it out. Maybe it's user error. Maybe these people are cycling the tank with tap water before they get the RO water set up and everything like that. So we're going to give Fluval a fair chance, give it a try. We got 3 or 4 bags of it. And then on top of that, Fluval came out with a brand new substrate. It's like bioactive or something like that. And if you feel the Fluval stratum in a cup and you try to pinch it and squeeze it, it'll crumble in your fingers. The new one, we were at the Global Pet Expo, and they had like a little container of it on display for you to go and feel. And no matter how hard you pinched, you were not going to break down that new substrate. So
Biostratum.
So
yeah.
Bioactive, bio.
You
said something else. Not
I got confused.
You said eco. Yeah, there we go. So we are going to give that a whole test. Fluval will get their very own little video. And then when we do the new rack, we got like a little Fluval tank I want to escape and set up. I think it was a shrimp tank. So we'll be going over the good and bad and ugly of that. It comes with a horrible shrimp net. I'll tell you that. I can give you the feedback on that. It's bad. Don't even try to use that net. But
the round one?
No, this one. It's right there in between the tanks. Yeah, it's round, but then it has like a kite of a back end, and it's so hard to get the shrimp out of.
Right. And Tyler, hey, where's the next breeding shrimp for profit video?
We just posted it today. If you missed
Part
it,
2.
It's up there. And if the profit part is it's in there. You might have to watch some of the video to come across it, but I go over why and what kind of shrimp we picked out for Eddie to breed. The next one is going to be the best one because it's pretty much about the auction that we went to on Saturday. And poor Eddie got a list and a half and a ton of shrimp to put, or not shrimp, but fish to put away. But we cleaned up like 11 tanks for him to come home with different things. So his daughter got a little overexcited with one of the fish, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Does Brightwell Oscuro have ammonia like ADA Amazonia version 2?
So very, very small, minute amount. If it tests on your ammonia kit, I'd be very surprised. If it does, it's usually within the first week, and it's super low. It does not, turn the ammonia to the very low end scale like the ADA does. ADA leaches so much ammonia. The Brightwell does just a little bit. I find if you have like the smallest clump of moss in there, it's enough to take care of that little bit of ammonia leach. Tyler said I'm on it. Well, you can wait till the live stream is over. But well, we lost him already. We lost a person. He's gone. He's on it. He wants to know what shrimp we set Eddie. Well, we didn't set up Eddie with anything. These were shrimp he was already breeding. So.
All right. And what other events are you planning to attend this year?
All right.
I brought you the book out.
Oh, sweet. She's on it. So the very first one that we are going to is the Knoxville Expo. Is it called Aquaticon? Is 30th of April. And then we got Shelby's birthday is June 30th. Make sure that's always on there. You can't forget that one. And
he has forgot it. No, just the date.
All right. I don't know how many days are in June sometimes. All right. I just know yours is the last day of that month, and then my dad's is the last day of another month. That's it. Yeah. So then we got the Triple Crown, which is in July. That is ALA, and which is American Livebearers, the American Achilles Association, and the American Cichlid Association. All three of them are meeting up. And then I think there was a fourth one involved in that, but like it's too late to change the name to the Quad Crown. It's the Triple Crown. So it'd be a really great event. Then we got Aquashella Dallas. That is in August. And then in September, this is where it gets awesome because in September, we've got AGA. And it's like September 29th through October 2nd. And that's in Chicago. And then we got the Keystone Clash, which is like 3 weeks after that in PA. And then we've got...
Out of order.
Are they in?
Yeah.
Oh,
so it would be Chicago,
I learned about the Keystone Clash after.
Is right before
AGA.
Aquashella. Then Keystone is at the end of the month.
No, so 1 week is Keystone Clash. The next weekend is AGA. And then the next weekend is Aquashella, Chicago. So we'll be in Chicago. It's a shame we have to leave the state to go to PA and we have to come home. It would be nice to stay in Chicago for 2 weeks to go to both. But yeah, and then Aqua Expo in South Florida is in, you don't have a flyer. I think it's in November. Maybe it's in October, the end of October. But we have those. Then we're trying to do another Repticon as well. So it would be cool for Shelby to sell some of her isopods. And then I think that shrimp would do really well at one of these Repticon expos because people do axolotls and then turtles also do really well with shrimp too. So
they don't do well. They eat them well.
Yeah, we have quite the year planned out, and I'm pretty sure we're missing another event that's not on the list that should be. So if I left something out, somebody hit me with why are you not going to this? Because we probably are. I just forgot about it. I think it was 10 shows altogether. We've already done Global. We've already done Aquashella Orlando, and there was another one I swear this year already that we went to.
Not a show.
No.
Mm-mm.
Blue Avatar. I can't read it when you do that.
Sorry.
It's a Keystone Clash. That'll be that'd be cool. I don't have anything.
Avatar Angels. That sounds pretty.
Besides shrimp that I'd want to enter in any contest. And maybe like 10 years, maybe some koi fish or something like that. But nothing that I'm working on right now.
We've never been to the Keystone Clash, so we don't know much about it. I didn't know there was competition or anything.
I just know about what Rico. I think there's like 18 different classes, and then Rico and the Fish Fam, we're trying to get them all sponsored. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, no, it should be a lot of fun. If there's an invertebrate category, that'd be cool. I'll jump in that.
Ooh, could you imagine like all different crayfish with them too, like alien eye crayfish? Oh, I'd be so happy because crayfish from every area seems to be really different.
Yeah, crayfish are one of those things where they come and go. Like they'll be real popular for like a few months, and then it seems like everybody that wanted crayfish got them in those few months, and then they realize like they're just crayfish and they do their thing and nothing ever changes. So the only cool thing I ever saw with my crayfish is I came home and one of my baby crayfish was using one of the pots that we were done using for plants, and we took the plant out, left the pot in there, and then came home and the crawfish was running around and it was spinning like a hamster wheel. That was about the coolest thing we saw with crayfish. But I think we're getting tired. You're going to start yawning.
I already yawned.
We don't have any more
Thanks.
questions. Everything is off of the list. So I think that's going to be it. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us and watching and going through the technical difficulties that we had in the middle. And, thanks for staying tuned. And if you only watch 6 minutes of the first video that we posted today, there's another like 9 minutes. 9 minutes of the video that you can watch the rest of it. So
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. You have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Till next time, thanks for watching.